4:53. Ken Shays great. 4:53. Call this meeting to order of the Public Safety Committee. The topic of the conversation is the Vibra Hospital and public safety concerns that coincide with that. As our constituent and friend, Ms. Jana was saying, there was fires that were set earlier this year. People have been breaking and entering, causing these fires. And God forbid these fires spread to all these, upheaval in the grass and everything like that. It could end up being a total disaster. I am joined by Councilor Brown, who is a member of this committee. Thank you, Councilor, as well as our Council President, Councilwoman Whitfield. We also are joined by Attorney Ken Shay. Attorney, thank you for joining us today. Can you hear us, Attorney?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
All right, Attorney, because to be truthful with you, a lot of our questions tonight are going to be directed towards you. And I know Councilor Brown, did you want to? I'll give the floor to you first if you want to ask some of these questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Council Chair Martin. Ken, it just seems like a lot of times, can you go review do you know the process as far as the city and what it takes when it comes to blighted property? What I know the city goes through the court and does all of that. Can you explain that process?
Well, I think the best I can tell you is that code enforcement would go out, they would issue a citation against the property, and then that would be forward, depending how they're going to handle it, would forward it over to the court, and the city would call the people into the court for a hearing on it. I mean, that's how the process would go. I think code enforcement probably could tell you every little step they take, but once there's been a determination that they're in violation of the city codes, the city has a right, if they're not enforcing the rules, it has an ultimate right to take them to court to fine or enforce compliance with the city regulations.
So how are they able, because obviously code enforcement has been, I mean, you can go over there, the place, it looks horrible. How are they able, they're not passing our screening as far as code enforcement, so they're being cited in the court. Why isn't that doing anything? What is the penalty? Is it a lackluster penalty? Why isn't that doing anything?
To that, I don't have an answer I can give you on the top of my head. If the court has issued an order to them, they'd be in violation of the court order. And it would be, at that juncture, it would be up to the court to exercise any penalties. But if code enforcement has followed through, gone into court, got a judgment against them, and got a violation, and the court has issued an order, and they don't comply with the court order, that is something that the court can enforce in code enforcement. I'm sure is code enforcement on at this meeting, because they could tell you how
no. Ken, I don't mean that process, because even how it's being reported now that it's in that court, it's been in that court for over almost 2 years. You can always petition the court for an emergency, emergency court meeting if there's still issues and stuff going on. How does it stay in the court for over 2 years?
That, without seeing the particular case, I couldn't give you something off the top of my head. If it's in the court system, then the court system has jurisdiction over it.
Is there a way the city council body? Is there a way we can write? I know there got to be a way we can rewrite something requiring, I don't know, pulling, like even with the permit stuff, if they get too many fines, they have to come back in front of us. It wasn't just a smack of the gavel and then go ahead and do whatever you want. Is there any safeguards that we can put into place before we let these developers come in and develop, and then after, say, 2 years, a year, 4 years from now, they're starting to become unneighborly? Because a lot of times we have not been protected. So for instance, MGM, they were supposed to do stuff. We smacked the gavel, they didn't do it. Any of these entities, any of these buildings, these slumlords, we give them property, they don't do what they're supposed to do, and we're stuck. Is there anything we can write into place beforehand to cover ourselves?
Well, there might be a way, again, this would take some research, but there might be a way to put into the language, and when we set these up, what we'd call a performance bond, where they'd have to post a performance bond, and if they didn't comply with what they were required to do, we could call in the performance bond.
What, can
That
you,
sounds that sounds great. And I'll turn the floor on to that. Ken, that sounds fantastic. I like that. I'm liking this meeting as we talking. I'll turn it back to thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll turn it back to Jerry. But I like what I hear. That sounds good.
I mean, it would take a little more looking into, but that would be the normal course. When people don't comply and you have a performance bond, then you can enforce that. So, that would be my off the top of my head answer at this juncture. I could do more research on it for you.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds fantastic. I know maybe my colleagues have some questions about that also. So I'll yield the floor. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
no problem. Thank you, Councilor Brown. Yeah, Ken, my question was, could you expand more on these performance bonds? So like essentially we could, get them before us, and if they don't, if we don't like what we see, or if they're, vacating these properties and leaving them blighted, could we then what would be the ramifications with these performance bonds?
I think generally let's suppose a developer comes in and he's going to do X.
Yeah.
Okay. So at that juncture, we would then, there probably would be a way where we could set up and say, well, all right, this is what you're going to do. You've got to post a performance bond that you're going to follow through and do this. And your failure to do that, the city could call in the bond to get someone to finish the job correctly. That's an overall view of a performance bond.
Meaning what? We would get a different developer to come in?
Well, yeah, ultimately, if the other developer couldn't finish the job or was unable to finish the job, or you were going to dismiss the developer, I mean, it gets complicated for an answer off the top of the meeting. But basically, that's how a performance bond would work. If the initial parties don't perform what they're going to do, the bonding company steps forward and you've got money to pay to get someone to finish the job. It's an overall view of how a performance bond would work.
Yeah, because there's a number, besides, like obviously Viber Hospital, which is the main topic, but there's like the Sears building, there's, several other buildings throughout the city that, become blighted and whatnot. So you're saying this would be a process. Could this be done retroactively? Do you know?
I'm not going to try to answer off the top of my head, but are we talking about the hospital on State Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at this juncture, do we know what the status is between the city and the owners of that property at this point?
As far as I'm concerned, and maybe Councilor Brown, I know you've been working more closely with this, but as far as I'm aware, that they still own the building.
Right.
It was some sort of deal that was discussed maybe a year or two ago where they were going to sell it to the city for $1, but they haven't done that. Councilor Brown, could you elaborate on that? Do you know more about that information?
Yeah, I know at one point the city were looking to get it. I know we had little hiccups as far as the historical piece on there. Right now they own it. They're supposed to maintain it and keep it up. But based on a lot of the violations and a lot of the things going on there, it's hard to it's caught up in court. So it's really, that's why I said it's with the court stuff. They can hold it up in court, you see, for years. So they can keep holding it up in court for maybe another couple years. That's why I wanted to know if there's something we can do and put into place that could stop not just that. Like Councilor Martin said, a lot of the areas throughout Springfield, if we have something in place where we can protect ourselves for future and things that we've already been having issues with.
So, Attorney Shea, has performance bonds, have they been done in the past in the city of Springfield, and it was a practice that has since gone away, or is it just something we could have always done, just haven't utilized? Like, that sounds like a really effective and different tool. It's the first time I'm hearing about this.
Yeah, I don't know if we've done that in the past, and performance bonds are generally done when someone's undertaking to develop something.
Yeah.
Talking about the hospital, I would, before I do anything else, I'd want to see exactly what code enforcement has done up to this point. Okay? But the performance bond would be something that goes in place. Say you promise to build X. So it works more in that situation. This is an existing building already, but the performance bond is something you put in place when someone's going to do a project and you've got the money. So if they don't finish the project, you've got a bond in place. But here you've got an existing dilapidated building, and we're trying to get the owners to either secure that building or remove it or whatever needs to be done. And that's a different animal.
So, I mean, to my knowledge, I mean, code enforcement has ticketed this property several times. To my understanding, they may have also gotten to court if they're not currently in court as it is.
Yeah.
So, given that information, could you further elaborate? So, I mean, if they are in court now, like what?
The only thing I could do with that is I could get a hold of the city solicitor and see what they've done in the law department. Okay. I'm not familiar what they do. I sort of focus on the city council, and that's basically the information I get. So I could find out in the law department if they've got anything going to deal with this problem. I mean, there's been an ongoing problem with that property. I mean, I think 2 or 3 years ago we dealt with this problem in the city.
Okay, Councilor Brown, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would hope with the Vibra, I know we're here for the hospital. I know we definitely have to work on that situation, but I think also we definitely want to put what you're saying in place for the future. When we look at the different projects that we had, if we had that in place. But a lot of the developers, a lot of the people who said they were going to do things, they wouldn't have been able to get away with not doing it. Correct? I mean, because we would have been able, if we had that in place, for instance, when they said they were going to put a tower on the casino, they couldn't have backed out on that, could they?
I don't know. I'd have to look into that, but
No, they couldn't have.
Go back to the.
So even with the upcoming. We got an upcoming, what is it, a $40 billion project? If we had that in place, wouldn't we be able to make sure for our Springfield residents that whoever building it, that they're supposed to do what they're supposed to do? So from this moment on, I still think we should put it into place because we got the courthouse, we got other projects that are going to come up in place. So we now, from this point on, even if we can't, if doesn't grandfather Vibra in, I think we should definitely put it into place. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I need to make it clear that a performance bond is something that I don't know if how the city could put one in. Say you're the developer, you're going to pay to put a building up, okay? And you want to make sure the contractor you hire follows through and does the job, okay? That is where you would put a performance bond in. So the city isn't the developer. If the city's the developer of the property, there may be a way to get a performance bond, but we just can't go out and put performance bonds on, say, the old hospital to make someone tear it down, okay? We're not the owners of that property at this point that I know of.
Before I go to, or Madam President, I know you're on your way to another meeting, so I'll let you go speak before I answer my question, but the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that the performance bond is good for future projects, but it's not going to help solve the.
Right.
Can you hear me? It's not going to
Yes.
help solve the problem for this particular situation. And I think that we have to do our own research on like other cities and towns and what they've done in the past to for like properties that they have problems with the owners, and then try to figure out if we can do some like ordinance changes or what we can do to prevent these things from happening in the future, but also look into our ordinances to see if there's any laws that say we can move beyond like code enforcement. I don't know what else we can do per se, but I think we're gonna have to do our own research and then propose something or ask the law department outside of Attorney Shea to do some research to see what other communities have done in situations like these.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Counselor.
Thank you, Attorney Shea. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No, thank you, Madam President. Yeah, so that was gonna kind of be my next question as well. So I know Councilor Govan had issued out something for the counselors about essentially retroactively taking these abandoned buildings or properties that, are owned by other developers, but have lain, dormant and have become these absentee landlords, have become these bad neighbors. Attorney Shea, is there anything on the books, could be on the books? Could we develop some sort of law that after so many years of unmaintained or after so many violations, so many ordinances, that the city can just take back or buy that property, that parcel of land, so we could, potentially sell it to a new developer?
There's probably a way that where the law department could look into that issue and craft something that would help us, but not something I can tell you right now off the top of my head. But I think there's possible ways to craft something that would help the situation you're talking about.
All right, so again, I know Councilor Govan has something working through the law department now, and I know Councilor Brown and I discussed doing a follow-up to this particular meeting with the Maintenance and Development Committee as a joint meeting, hopefully in the next week or so. Is that something that you could look into or have somebody on the law department look into, the performance bonds for future reference, and B, the retroactive taking or redevelopment aspect of that, those two things, those two prongs?
Absolutely. I will talk to the city solicitor and see what we can set up for you. How's that?
Yeah, that'd be great, Attorney Shea. I mean, those two things I think would be great just in terms of future prevention and, past rectification. You know what I mean? Like we could use a shot in the arm here. So I think that'd be great. So I know we're joined by a couple constituents here. Did either of you guys have any questions? Yeah, Mr. President person here, and Ms. Jana, do you want to have a question or a comment for us?
No comment, no questions, of just listening to your thought processes. That's all. Thank you.
No, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
I think, Mr. Chair, if I may have the floor.
Of course.
I think there was this person in Holyoke or Northampton or somewhere that was buying all these properties, but wasn't like doing anything with them, was holding on to them. And they started like putting it out in the media and questioning what this person was doing with the property. So I think that we have an opportunity where we could, I know Vibra Hospital has been in the media, but we have to apply some type of pressure so that they like take us seriously and start moving and start acting. But I think I like the retroactive property taking, if that is something we can legally do. I like that that Councilor Govan sent around. And we could just like keep looking to see what other cities and towns have been doing. But putting pressure on people sometimes makes them act. And so I think if we start putting pressure, start doing press releases over at Vibra Hospital and just creating like more awareness to the situation, because it just looks terrible. It's scary. It's dangerous. If someone get pulled into that grassy area, it's so tall, they wouldn't even be seen, and it's dark at night, and it's just very dangerous.
No, 100%. 100%. Mr. Press, do you have?
Yeah, so what is this? Basically, you guys want Vibra to take responsibility and maintain property?
Yeah, so this meeting particularly is about Vibra, but just, all property owners. And we take care of your property, make sure, you're making it clean and keeping the city beautiful, because then it leads to public safety concerns like this. As Council President was just mentioning. So, but yeah, say Councilor Brown or Council President Whitfield, do you guys have any other questions for the Attorney Shea? Attorney Shea, you're a trooper. Thank you.
All set. Thank you.
Well,
I had Attorney Shea. I just always want to thank you. I know when you guys when you say law department, how hard is it for you guys to find some of that stuff out?
Yeah, well, I don't know what stuff you're talking about, but we can find
But
out an
as
awful
far
lot.
as how hard would it be for you to kind of like find out like just the actual language and what we could do? Like, how hard is it to research that stuff,
Oh,
or
no,
is it something?
we could do that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to thank you for you always being here and being available. I want to thank the constituent for being here. Because like I said, a lot of times it's going to take the community to fix this one, because a lot of times we're just city councilors. And when we say just city councilors, I don't mean it like that. We're just city councilors, but we represent you guys. We can't do nothing without you guys. Okay. So I appreciate you here, being a voice for the community. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No, thank you, Counselor. And yeah, I want to echo what Counselor Brown said. Thank you, Attorney Shea. You definitely gave us some new great ideas and a great starting point on how to really handle this. So again, the two things that you can look for us is, again, the preventative, proactive performance bonds, and then the retroactive law that Counselor Govan had initiated. And again, so we're hoping I'll collaborate with Counselor Brown and Counselor Cliff Bruce on when we could do our joint meeting, but hopefully in the next week or two, we can hop back on the saddle here, and you can help develop the answers to those questions that we have.
So there's no ordinances for blighted properties and stuff like that?
A lot of it is just like, code enforcement too, right now. So like if you have certain blight or if you treat it like a junkyard, then you get cited.
So I
We're
know,
talking about like a lot of repeat developer.
yeah,
So, yeah.
I know out in Ware a few years ago, they were dealing with those same issues.
In the city of Ware, the
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, there was a lot of properties, people buying properties and just leaving them as is. I forgot there was a certain percentage of properties that was pretty much blighted. I think about 2 years ago, they actually passed some kind of law or ordinance to basically hold the owners of the land responsible.
Kind of like a retroactive approach where like
It was, I
you could go
kind of,
back at the current property, you know what I mean? Or
I'd have to, it was like 2-3 years ago that it happened, but I can't really tell you how they did it. But it was something. I don't know if they was like upping up the fines and stuff like that. But you're dealing with Bible, which is $100 they got versus $200 fines.
Right.
Something.
But yeah, that's exactly it. You know what I mean? You could ticket them and give them the ordinances for $100 a pop or whatever.
It's a write-off for them.
You're correct. You know what I mean? And they don't feel it. It's like it's like a flea on a whale.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can we, really hold their feet to the fire? So again, thank you guys.
Mr. Chairman, 1 minute.
Yeah,
I just want to be clear on the performance bond concept, okay?
yeah,
Performance bonds are something that when you are developing a property, you get the developer to post a bond that they're going to follow through and do what the plan is. In this case, we have an already existing property. So the only way we probably would get a performance bond here is if we got the owners of the property to commit to cleaning the property up and get them to enter into an agreement where we would have them post a performance bond, okay? All right, because it's normally used in new construction, and I'm just trying to find a way to see if we can finagle one on an existing project to make the people comply, okay?
yes. No, I know, I understand that would be like the initial phases of a development.
Right.
Um,
But it's a concept that I thought maybe there's a way to explore it here and get it against the owner, that's all. Okay?
Councilor Brown, you have your hand up?
Yeah, Ken Shea. I'm chair of REO. Now, they have to come in front of me to comply with as far as the certain standards. What's the difference between that when they have to get a waiver and things if they're not up to standards from my committee?
I'm not sure I'm following what you're trying to have me answer.
So say if someone's doing construction
Yeah,
and they're doing a project and they're supposed to hire a certain amount of minorities and they don't have those amount of minorities, they still have to come in front of me and they have to get a waiver saying that they didn't comply with the amount of the agreement. So they have to get a waiver in order to continue.
right. Well, that's a contract issue that you have, and you have a way of getting them to comply when they come in, okay?
So,
Little separate,
so
but a little different than what I'm
okay.
talking about, okay?
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Ken. Thanks.
Okay.
I do want to know we are joined by Andrew, excuse my pronunciation, last name Sternstein, is that correct? Sternstein.
Strenesty.
Thank you, Andrew. From the Historic Commission. Thank you for joining us. We are kind of at the tail end of the meeting here, but
Yeah.
Councilor Brown, do you have any questions for the Historic Commission here? Because I know obviously they played a role in Vibra, and you've worked with them closely for the Ward 4 and whatnot. So I don't know if you have any questions for them.
Well, my main thing with the Historic Commission, I always support you guys. I know back when we had the actual conversation about the property, I fought with you guys to keep the historical integrity. Now it's kind of blighted, and we can't. It's being such a difficult situation when we look fast forward a few years forward. My thought is that we kind of like become a little bit less uh less aggressive on the next developer. I just want to see how you guys felt about that, just based on the how hard it was to how hard it is to get it redeveloped. How do you guys feel about the historic value of it now? Because I kind of saying if we have to look at it a different way going into this particular project.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
He said,
when you look at good stuff.
Would you like me to answer, Counselor?
yes, I'm sorry. It was
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I can't speak directly for the Historic Commission, but what I can say is when there are buildings in deteriorating conditions, they are flexible. And I think they do try to work with developers. If I recall correctly, I don't believe Vibra is in a local historic district. I would have to double check that when I get back into the office. But
It wasn't a historic district. It was certain historic pieces that they still wanted to maintain, I guess, parts of the hospital.
Yeah, I think there might have been an effort before I started a couple years ago to make it a historic district. But I would have to double check with where that was in the process. Right now, and this will be on your agenda coming up soon, we've been holding off on creating historic districts until we consolidate all of our the historic ordinances that we have on the books. We're kind of reorganizing, and that will be presented to you guys soon. So yeah, I think it might be a further discussion, and we do meet on with the Historic Commission on September 3rd, so I can have that discussion with them in terms of what their position may be, and I can report back.
I appreciate. Oh, sorry. I appreciate it. I know that me and Councilor Martin, we really want to make sure we kept you guys in the loop. You guys always do a great job. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No, thank you, Councilor Brown. So yeah, Andrew, if any updates or any sort of, again, I don't know if you were here when we had mentioned it just a minute ago, we do plan on doing a follow-up meeting regarding the Vibra Hospital in a week or two or so. So if you wouldn't mind, coming back at that meeting as well, just to provide an update, see where we are with Vibra particularly, that would be very helpful.
Okay, yeah, if I'm unable to attend, I can at least provide something in writing. I have a historic meeting coming up, and I'll be out of the office one of those days, but I'm happy to definitely follow up and at least provide something in writing.
That'd be terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have to jump off. Are there any other questions?
No, I think we're all set.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep,
Mr.
take care.
President, you had a point or a question?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, as far as the historic portion on that property, it's the property furthest away from Putnam. So the main entrance, that whole facade that you see, that's not historic. It's the end building that used to be suspension. That's the part that's historical.
Yes, he's correct. He's correct.
Got you, like the main building there.
The main building is regular. It's the building on the far right, on the opposite end of Putnam.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of that.
Yeah, so
Still
Putnam's
is old.
here. Yeah, Putnam's here. The main building. Yeah, it got the circle in the front,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, it looks historic. That's what's historic. The rest of the building is just regular.
Okay. All right. Well, again, I think that sums up all of my questions, and Councilor Brown, I think, are you all set as well? Do you have any other follow-ups? Okay. So do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved. A motion to move. Motion to end the meeting.
Seconded, so moved. Thank you all for being here. Public safety meeting has ended at 5:24 p.m.